The roar of center court fell silent. The Philippine flags stopped waving, and in that moment, 115 million dreams hung in the balance. She had done the impossible. She had become the first Filipino in tennis history to earn a Grand Slam seed. She had stunned world number 2 Elena Rybakina and world number 8 Elina Svitolina. She had won a grass court title and stormed into the semifinals of Berlin. The world had watched her rise. The world had believed. And then, in the span of a single match, it all came crashing down. The queues stretched for miles. The tickets had sold out. The entire Philippines had gathered around their screens, praying, hoping, believing that history would be written on the grass of Wimbledon. But when the final point was played, it wasn't the fairy tale ending everyone had dreamed of. It was something far more brutal, far more devastating, far more heartbreaking. How did Alex Eala's historic Wimbledon dream turn into a nightmare? And what comes next for the girl who carried the hopes of a nation?
It started in Birmingham, it blazed through Berlin, and it ended in heartbreak on the grass of Wimbledon. June 7, 2026, Alex Eala captured her first career grass court title at the WTA 125 Lexus Birmingham Open. She fought back from a set down to defeat her eventual doubles partner Nikola Bartramkova of the Czech Republic in a thrilling three-set final, 5-7, 6-3, 7-5. It was her second WTA 125 crown and her first ever title on grass. But she was just getting started. Then came Berlin. Eala entered the WTA 500 Berlin Tennis Open as a wild card and a debutante. Nobody expected much. In the first round, she defeated newly minted Queen's Club champion Donna Vekic 7-5, 6-4. Then came the moment that stopped the tennis world cold. Next up, Elena Rybakina, the 2022 Wimbledon champion, the reigning Australian Open queen, the world number 2. Nobody gave Eala a chance. Instead, she pulled off the upset of the tournament, defeating Rybakina 7-5, 6-4. But she wasn't done. In the quarterfinals, she dismantled world number 8 Elina Svitolina 3-6, 6-4. 2 top 10 victories in a single tournament, a run to the semifinals. The semifinal run earned her 195 ranking points, pushing her to world number 30. Then, when world number 9 Victoria Mboko withdrew from Wimbledon due to a knee injury, Eala was pushed up to the number 29th seed. The first Filipino in tennis history across both the amateur and open eras to be seeded in the singles draw at Wimbledon. The Philippines didn't just celebrate, it exploded. Headlines screamed her name. Social media erupted. The 21-year-old from Quezon City had done the impossible. But the celebrations masked the darker truth. The schedule had been brutal. 4 grass events in a short span, heavy strapping on her shoulder, a sobering first-round defeat to Elise Mertens at the Bad Homburg Open just days before Wimbledon, a 3-6, 3-6 loss that raised fresh concerns. The warning signs were there, but nobody wanted to believe them, because the dream was too beautiful to let go, and Alex Eala was too special to fail. 25,000 Filipino fans had booked their tickets to Wimbledon. 25,000 souls who had crossed oceans, emptied savings accounts, and planned their lives around a single match. When Alex Eala stepped onto Court 12 at the All England Club on June 30th, 2026, she carried more than just her racket. She carried the weight of 115 million people. She carried the hopes of a nation that had never experienced this before. She carried the dream of every Filipino who had ever been told they weren't enough. The match was scheduled at 8:50 p.m. Philippine time. The entire country stopped. Families gathered around televisions. Streets fell silent. Social media exploded with messages of support. The hashtag Laban Eala, Fight Eala, trended worldwide. But the weight of history is a heavy burden, and history was watching. Standing across the net was Renata Zarazua of Mexico, a 28-year-old ranked number 75 in the WTA, a familiar opponent with unfinished business.
The two had met only once before, back in the ITF W100 carry tournament in the United States in 2024, where Zarazua rallied from a set down to beat Eala 3-6, 6-4, 6-3. But this time, everything was supposed to be different. Eala was the number 29 seed. She was the world number 30. She had just won 9 of her 12 matches on grass. She had beaten world number 2 Elena Rybakina and number 8 Elena Svitolina. She was supposed to win. Everyone said so. Former world champions were banking on it. Greg Rusedski predicted, "I think Eala's going to win her opener as well, so that's going to be Serena and Eala in the second round, and that's going to be another center court matchup." Andy Roddick echoed the sentiment, even envisioning an Eala-Williams duel. Tracy Austin believed Eala's lefty slice serve and angles would be the key. But tennis doesn't care about predictions. Tennis doesn't care about rankings. Tennis doesn't care about the weight of history. And history was about to write a very different story.
The first set was a war. Eala came out firing. Her ground strokes were precise. Her movement was fluid. She had been here before. She had beaten the best. She was ready. But Zarazua didn't panic. She didn't fold. Just like in Kerry 2 years ago, the Mexican veteran dug deep. She reminded Eala that experience matters. She extended rallies. She made Eala work for every single point. The ghosts of the past were everywhere. The memory of that crushing defeat in 2024, the feeling of victory slipping through her fingers, the lesson that had haunted her for 2 years, that in tennis, nothing is over until the final point is played. As the first set wore on, something shifted. The momentum began to swing. Zarazua, the 28-year-old veteran, began to find a rhythm. Her serve grew stronger, her returns grew sharper, her confidence grew with every point. Eala, meanwhile, began to show signs of fatigue. The brutal grass court schedule was catching up with her, the heavy strapping on her shoulder, the 11 matches she had played in June alone, the emotional and physical toll of the most demanding month of her career. The first set slipped away. The second set was even more brutal. Every point was a battle. Every rally was a test of wills. The tension was unbearable. The Filipina flags in the stands waved frantically with every point Eala won, but the points were coming fewer and farther between. Zarazua was relentless. She had beaten Eala before, and she knew exactly how to do it again. She targeted Eala's weaknesses. She extended rallies. She refused to give an inch. And in the decisive moments, Eala couldn't do what she had done in Berlin. She couldn't find that extra gear. She couldn't summon that magic. The final point was played. The ball landed. The net cord. The silence. The Filipinas' bid to reach the second round had been cut short. The dream that had captivated a nation was over. The historic run that had begun in Birmingham and blazed through Berlin had come to a heartbreaking end on court 12 at Wimbledon. The silence was deafening. Thousands of Filipino fans in the stands sat motionless. The flags that had waved so proudly moments earlier hung limp. The cheers that had echoed across the All England club were replaced by something far more painful: disbelief, heartbreak, the crushing weight of a dream that had come so close and slipped so far away. Alex Eala walked to the net. She shook hands with Zarazua. She forced a smile. She did everything a champion is supposed to do in defeat. But the cameras captured what her smile couldn't hide. The tears welling in her eyes, the trembling of her lips, the weight of 115 million people on her shoulders, suddenly heavier than ever before. She had done the impossible. She had become the first Filipino in tennis history to earn a Grand Slam seed. She had stunned world number 2 Elena Rybakina. She had won a grass court title. She had captured the hearts of a nation. She had made history. But history is a cruel mistress. It remembers the winners. It forgets the almost winners. It immortalizes those who lift the trophy and relegates those who fall short to footnotes.
The path that had seemed so clear, a victory over Zarazua, a second-round showdown with Serena Williams, a potential third-round clash with Iga Swiatek, had vanished in an instant. The dream match with the GOAT would never happen. The Cinderella story had ended before it truly began. In the stands, Filipino fans wept. Some had traveled thousands of miles. Some had emptied their savings accounts. Some had planned their entire lives around this moment. Now, they were left with nothing but heartbreak. On social media, the reaction was swift and devastating. The hashtag Laban Eala was now filled not with celebration, but with consolation. Messages of support poured in from around the world, but they couldn't erase the pain. They couldn't undo what had happened. They couldn't bring back the dream that had just been crushed. The tennis world was stunned. The WTA was stunned. The Philippines was stunned. And Alex Eala walked off court 12, her head held high, her heart in pieces, her Wimbledon dream over before it had truly begun.
The match was over. The dream was dead. But the questions were just beginning. How did this happen? How did a player who had beaten world number 2 Elena Rybakina and number 8 Svitolina fall to a world number 75 in the first round of Wimbledon? How did the girl who had won 9 of her 12 matches on grass collapse under the weight of history? The answers are as complex as they are painful. The grass court schedule had been brutal. 4 events in a short span: Birmingham, Queen's Club, Berlin, and Bad Homburg. The physical toll had been immense. The heavy strapping on her shoulder, the first-round defeat to Elise Mertens at Bad Homburg, the warning signs that everyone had seen but nobody had wanted to believe. And then there was the weight of history, the pressure of being the first, the expectations of 115 million people, the 25,000 fans who had booked their tickets, the entire nation watching, praying, hoping. The pressure had been too much, the burden had been too heavy, the dream had been too big. But here's the thing about Alex Eala. She has been counted out before. She has fallen and risen. She has faced defeat and emerged stronger. At just 21 years old, she has already achieved what no Filipino has ever achieved. She has beaten Grand Slam champions. She has won titles. She has captured the hearts of a nation. And she is just getting started. She will return to the practice courts. She will learn from this defeat. She will come back stronger, hungrier, more determined than ever. Because that's what champions do. They don't stay down. They don't give up. They keep fighting. The dream may have ended at Wimbledon 2026, but the journey is far from over. Was this the end of Alex Eala's fairy tale, or just the beginning of a story that's far from finished? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.